Good morning. Here I am from my corner of the world. Just wanted to read a little out of John today. John chapter 5 said, Afterwards, Jesus returned to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish holy days. Inside the city near the sheep gate was a pool of Bethesda with 5 covered porches. Crowds of sick people, blind, lame, or paralyzed, lay on the porches. One of the men laying there had been sick for 38 years. When Jesus saw him and knew he had been ill for a long time, he asked him, Would you like to get well? I can't, sir, the sick man said, for I have no one to put me in the pool when the water bubbles up. Someone else always gets there ahead of me. Jesus told him, Stand up, pick up your mat, and walk. Instantly, the man was healed. He rolled up his sleeping mat and began walking. But this miracle happened on the Sabbath, so the Jewish leaders objected, and they said to the man who was cured, You can't work on the Sabbath. The law doesn't allow you to carry that sleeping mat. But he replied, The man who healed me told me, Pick up your mat and walk. My thought today is so many people say, I have no one. I have no one to help me. We're in a crisis. I've lost my job. I've lost my health. I have no man to help me. Well, these crises help us to realize that we must trust in God. From whence cometh our help? He is our only true help. And we will find that the things that we fear are the things that we fear losing are the things that we've been trusting. We may fear losing our health. We may fear losing our wealth. We may fear losing our family or our friends, or you name it. Let your mind go to the things that you fear, and that's probably some of the things that you've been trusting. And so if God knows that you want to be saved, but inadvertently you are trusting something other than Him, He will very likely take it away, so that you lose your trust in what you had your trust in, and you put your trust in Him alone. We know that when people get into that mindset, I have no one to help me, it just sounds like self-pity. It is self-pity. They're not looking for the answer themselves. They're looking for a handout. They feel like they're entitled. Somebody's got to help me. Self-pity coupled with unbelief, what does it bring? Depression and hopelessness. If you want to fall into depression and hopelessness, allow yourself to get into self-pity and unbelief. It's a really deep, dark hole. I think we should put our trust in God. Look at all the people in the Bible who are beautiful examples. When you start feeling down, you start feeling like life is just not fair and it's so rough, think about the people in the Bible. Think about David. Think about Daniel. Think about Job. Think about Joseph. Years and years and years. He had been betrayed by his own brothers, and he was sold into slavery, and then he was lied about, and he was thrown into the dungeon, and it just goes on and on and on. But eventually, all that training of trusting God and humbling himself under the mighty hand of God, and God brought him up to be the leader that saved his family. And so today I don't want to make it very long. This is a work day, but I wanted to encourage us all to trust God. And statistics would prove to us that most people 3 months after the crisis are going to go back to what they trusted in before, unless they made some very, very positive life changes. One of the biggest things that we want to trust in is our money. And the Bible clearly says you cannot serve God and mammon. And so my thought today is that where your heart is where your money is, where you put your money. I can't just think of the verse right at the moment. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So when God inspires us to give something, and we have to actually walk by faith to give it, we really need to do that. We're planting faith, and that faith is going to grow. And so then when you have given some of your money to help a needy person, guess what? For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. You've given your treasure over here. Now you're concerned about this person. Now you want to make sure that they're doing well. And so when we give our money to ourselves, suppose we buy a new house, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Now, all of a sudden, we see all the things that the new house needs. It needs landscaping. It needs better furniture. And the money keeps flowing into that. Whereas if you invested in people, suddenly you find more people to invest in. And you say, well, where am I going to get the money for all this? But you know what? God's inspiring me. And this person needs medication. And I have the means today to do that. And I'm going to do it. And guess what? When you plant something, what do you get? You get a harvest. And so this that you've planted, God blesses you. And there was a man who said every year he gave a little more. Instead of 10%, he gave 11, 12, and then finally it got to where they were given 90% of their income. And he said we still had way more money than we knew what to do with. So I want to read another verse here in conclusion, John chapter 5 again, verse 14. And Jesus found this man again, and he said, now you are well, so stop sinning, or something even worse may happen to you. So once the crisis is over, let's have used the crisis to help us to make positive life changes. May God bless you.